go. Hey guys, welcome to Secrets. Sorry, you just caught me mowing my lawn. See, these are my lawn mowing glasses. Well, anyways, I keep on running into these guys right here as I'm mowing my lawn. And I just don't know how they got all over my lawn. But this is pretty cool. Check this out. You've probably done that before. Anyways, I am just so confused why those are getting all over my lawn. They seem to just spread so quickly. Hopefully, maybe you guys will learn something about it in Secrets. I don't know when. It would be really cool though if maybe it was a part of the lesson sometime soon. Anyways, I just need to finish mowing my lawn really quick. So I'm gonna be a little bit late, but while I'm mowing my lawn, here's Huckleberry with the review from last week. Take it away, Huckleberry.
So before we get started with a new lesson this week, let's do a quick review of what we learned last time.
Here's our action for relationships. Relationships. Everything is connected and nothing lives alone.
So in the skit last week, we had 2 squirrels, an oak tree, and a coyote, and they were all interacting in different ways within their ecosystem. So the first 2 characters that came on were the oak tree and squirrel number 1. And these 2 organisms had a helping relationship. So the tree was helping out the squirrel by giving it some food to eat, and the squirrel was helping the oak tree by spreading its seeds so that it could, all these trees would have enough space to grow. Secondly, we had the 2 squirrels, and they were chasing each other all around trying to get enough acorns to eat. So we call this a competing relationship. And then we talked about how organisms can compete over food, like these squirrels, but they can also compete over territory, they can compete over a mate, they can compete over space. Like plants. Plants can compete over space, they can compete over water and sunlight. So trees might try to grow really big and tall so that their leaves or needles can collect as much sunlight as possible, and they need lots of space so that their roots can spread out wide and tap into water that's underground. So the last relationship we saw was between the squirrel and the coyote. And in that situation, the coyote was chasing around the squirrel, eventually chased it out of the room, and maybe ate that squirrel. So that's what we call a predator and prey relationship. So the coyote in that situation is the predator and the squirrel is the prey.
You guys. Okay, sorry for interrupting, Huckleberry, but I just finished mowing my lawn and I was emptying out my lawnmower full of like all of the blades of grass and things, and I found this. And I was thinking that it was probably important for Secrets. I think this is our secret for the day. Survival. Plants and animals use adaptations to survive in their habitat. So, you know how I was talking earlier about these plants, these dandelions? I think we might learn about them today. Or plants like this, they're adaptations. What these things are that blow in the wind. I'm so excited. Okay, so survival goes, I think, on probably one of these S's. There's 2 of them though. I guess I'll put it on the first one, or for funsies, I'll put it on the last one. There we go. Okay, so the action for today goes like this. Survival. Plants, like you're a growing plant, and animals, rawr, use adaptations to survive in their habitat. So that's how it goes. Let's do it one more time, all together. Ready? Survival.
Plants and animals
use adaptations to survive in their habitat.
All right, we're gonna do the secret action again. You're gonna do it with us. And we're gonna pretend to be one of those inflatable balloon people that sometimes you see them near like car dealerships or plant sales or stuff like that. And those inflatable people, inflatable balloon people. Okay, here we go.
Ready?
Survival.
Plants and animals
Use adaptations.
to survive in their habitat.
Without further ado, I present to you the skit. Welcome to Darwin's Boutique, your one-stop shop for all your adaptation needs. How can I help you poor plants survive in your habitat today?
Life in the forest lately is rough. All the other trees have been sucking up all of the water and using all the nutrients in the soil. At this rate, I'll be a decomposing log any day now. I already look so much like a snag that the woodpeckers have been picking at me all week looking for bugs to eat. No bugs here, just a sad-looking tree trunk in need of some serious adaptations.
Well, you are in luck. Have a look at my wonderful line of plant adaptations. We've got something for everyone under the sun. You say you're tired of the rest of the trees in the forest hogging all of the water and nutrients?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have just the thing. Try these babies on for size. These are top of the line, state of the art roots. Perfect for absorbing water and nutrients to help you photosynthesize and grow.
These are wonderful! I feel better already. Thank you so much. Now I can definitely compete with the other trees.
Now on to you, poor little stem. What seems to be the trouble?
Oh, life in the meadow is really hard. All day long I see the bees and butterflies happily buzzing and flapping from one beautiful flower to the next, spreading pollen and helping everyone reproduce. But not me. They took one look at my sorrowful stem and they fly right on by. And to top it all off, these lousy deer keep on coming by and nibbling on my stem.
You say you can't attract the attention of pollinators? Well, I know just what you need. This is my newest design in my destination pollination collection. These are beautiful petals. These beautiful petals will attract bees and butterflies, telling them that you are full of sweet, sugary nectar. In return for your nectar, they will carry your pollen to other flowers and bring other flowers' pollen to you. That way you can reproduce.
Oh, they're so beautiful! I'm excited to have a real helping relationship with the bees and butterflies. But how do I get the deer to stop eating me?
Well,
Oh no.
let me see what I have here. Sharp teeth? Too carnivorous. Talons? Ouch. Nah. Too hawk-like. Camouflage? Not if you want to attract pollinators. Aha! I got it. Here you go. These will be perfect for your little herbivory problem. If any deer tries to give you a little nibble, they'll get quite the poke in the mouth from these sharp thorns.
Wow, thank you so much. I can't wait to try these out. I'll be the prettiest, best protected flower in the meadow.
Glad I could help. Now last but not least, what can I do for you?
My problem is quite tragic. I have plenty of pollinators, but nowhere to put my seeds. Every time I drop my seeds, they all just start growing right around me, competing with each other and me for resources. I don't know what to do.
Well, my fecund friend, I have got something for you. You can put your seeds in this sweet and delicious fruit. That way your animals can come and eat it and poop out the seeds in a place far away from you.
No, apple trees and blackberries already do that. I want to be special and unique. What else do you have?
Well, let me see what else I have. Aha! little gem. This, my finicky friend, is a burr. These barbed spurs will get caught in mammal fur, and then, when the mammal runs away, the burrs will eventually fall off, leaving the seed to grow up in a brand new location.
I guess that's okay. But other plants like foxtails already do that. Besides, I don't want to be annoying to mammals.
You annoying never. Okay, well, how about this? This is my latest invention. Gone are the days of your own seeds competing with each other. These seeds are ingeniously designed to float away in the wind, like tiny parachutes. When a swift wind blows, they'll be carried far, far away.
Finally, now my seeds can grow up without competing with each other. Thank you so much.
You are all very welcome. Now just remember, if you're ever having trouble surviving in your habitat, just swing on by for some new adaptations. All right, round of applause for that skit. Now you guys are in luck. Today is double skit day. So get ready for one more skit.
Listen up, fellow animal engineers. Another assignment just came in. We need to design an animal that's well adapted to a forest habitat. It says here that this animal's habitat is the forest canopy.
Hold on a second. What is a habitat?
Not to worry, fellow engineer. Habitat is easy to understand. A habitat is where an animal finds its food, water, and shelter.
Okay, food, water, and shelter. Got it. So what have we got to work with? I think we need a volunteer.
Excellent. Please come up.
I've been working on an adaptation that will allow this animal to eat insects that live in dead trees. How does that feel?
Great.
This sharp beak can peck through wood and snags. I've also designed this great tongue. Here you are.
Ooh, thank you, sir.
This tongue is long and has barbs on the end of it so it can reach deep holes that the beak made and grab ants and beetles. When not in use, the tongue wraps around the skull for easy storage.
Since this animal is going to be pecking at snags all day, I designed this great protective device.
Look kitty pig.
This is a padded skull that will protect the animal's brain as it pounds away at those snags.
Wow. I know that this organism will want to use a snag to perch on and possibly get food from too. So I've created claws.
Nice claws.
Check out these claws.
Nice claws.
These claws give the animal the ability to hang on to snags while feeding.
Well, those look like great adaptations, but I have designed a couple of things myself. If this animal is going to live in the canopy, it's going to need some wings. There we go. And lastly, the animal is going to need to look good in order to attract a mate.
Excellent work, engineers! Does anybody have a name for this animal?
How about a pileated woodpecker?
Sounds great.
Welcome back, you guys, and welcome to lesson 4 and 5 today, all about survival. So the first word that we're going to define is a habitat. And habitat is where an organism lives. So remember in week 1, we defined organism as a plant or an animal. So habitat is somewhere where a plant or animal lives. And organisms need 3 things to survive in their habitat. They need food, water, and shelter. So in order for a habitat to be a good habitat, it needs to have those 3 things. So let's think for a minute about your habitat. Where do you find your home? Does it have food, water, and shelter? Yeah. So humans, we can live in lots of different places all around the world. We live here around Hood River or the Dalles, or Mosher. And this is one example of a place where humans can find their habitat, but people live in all sorts of places. There are humans that live in the desert, in the mountains, on islands, and they all have very different weather patterns and they're very different ecosystems. But us humans are pretty special because we can survive in all of those different places. But that's not true for all animals and plants. There are certain animals and plants that can only live in very specific conditions. Like a cactus can only really live in a really dry place, right? Like they wouldn't do so well in a rainforest. And likewise, a banana slug wouldn't do very well in the desert. So habitat is often specific to a certain type of organism. Okay, so let's move on and talk about the second word on the board, which is adaptation. And this word was mentioned in one of the skits today. So an adaptation is something that an organism has or does to help it survive in its habitat. So we are going to break this down into those two words, something it has and something it does. So when we're talking about something an organism has, we call that a physical adaptation. So let's think of some examples of physical adaptations for animals. So thinking back to the skit today, our skit had to do with a woodpecker, right? A pileated woodpecker. And that woodpecker had different physical features added to it that helped it survive in its habitat, which was the forest canopy. It had a beak that could help it peck at snags. It had wings so that it could fly between trees in the canopy. It also had, let's think. Oh, it had claws so that it could grab onto a tree. So all of those are physical things that helped the woodpecker to survive in its habitat. Another example of an animal with adaptations to survive in a different habitat would be a badger. So badgers live in more the shrub steppe habitat, so a drier climate, and they live underground. So some adaptations that they have to live underground are they have really big eyes so that they can be able to see better in the dark. They have a snout that's kind of shaped like a shovel that helps them to dig better. And they have really big claws that can help them dig out tunnels as well. So animals have physical adaptations, but so do plants. So if you think back to the other skit today about the plant adaptations, the salesman was giving out all sorts of physical adaptations to those plants, right? He gave out some roots, gave out some petals, and all of those things helped plants to survive better in their habitat. So lastly, animals specifically can also have behavioral adaptations. So these are things that animals do in order to survive better in their habitats. So let's think of some examples today. So a behavior that could help an animal survive. I'm thinking of one behavior that happens a lot of times in the winter for certain mammals. Certain mammals will do something called hibernate, where they'll go underground and they'll just kind of sleep for the whole winter. Hibernating helps animals to conserve energy so that they can survive the cold winter. Another thing that happens seasonally is birds and whales and butterflies do something called migrate, where they will go somewhere warmer in the winter and then come back to somewhere cooler in the summer. So that's another example of a behavioral adaptation. One last one that I want to mention are wolves. Wolves, when they hunt in packs. So they'll travel in a group and work together to chase down their prey. And that helps them to get more food for themselves and to survive. So take a minute to think of a physical adaptation and a behavioral adaptation for yourselves. So one adaptation that humans have is the ability to use our thumbs, or opposable thumbs. So everybody, let's take our hands, put them out in front of us, and take your thumbs and glue them not actually, but we're gonna pretend, to the rest of your hand. So for the next 2 minutes, you guys have lost the adaptation of opposable thumbs. So you cannot use your thumbs for the next 2 minutes. And Steelhead told me that for his activity today, you're gonna need a piece of paper and a pencil. So go ahead and go find a piece of paper and a pencil and then write your name on that piece of paper without using your thumbs. All right? Meet you back here in a minute for your activities with Steelhead.
Came in from the other direction today, keeping everybody on their toes. Steelhead Jones back for some more secrets activities. And today we have some fun ones. I have some special guests to bring in today and some fun activities for you to do. Okay, for our next activity, we're gonna go look for plants and animals that have adaptations. All right, we're gonna go look for some adaptations on plants and animals that we find. And I'm doing this by going right outside of my house here. I'm just gonna walk around and I'm just gonna look at that organism and notice adaptations. I'm gonna look for anything that I think might be an adaptation. Even if I don't know what the adaptation is for, I can still think to myself that this might be an adaptation that helps this animal or plant survive. So let's go. Let's check this out. All right, we're back here where we were in the last video, and these two plants have some cool adaptations. So remember we talked about the state flower, right? The Oregon grape. It has these shiny leaves. They're kind of jagged around the edge there. Those flowers have disappeared. Those yellow flowers that were there have disappeared, and they started forming these little berries, right? So these berries, some of the animals will come eat them, and they're edible for humans too, but they're really bitter. So I don't recommend eating them. But some people like to turn them into jam, or if you add enough sugar, anything's delicious. But the Oregon grape has these kind of jagged edges on the leaves. They're a little bit pokey. They have really shiny leaves. They can be multicolored. Here's some red on this one. They have these fruit, the flowers that turn into that give way to the fruit, which are the seeds. So those are all adaptations. Now, I don't know what all of those adaptations are for, but I know that they're all adaptations that help this plant survive. All right, and then right next to it, we had this invasive plant, right? This Himalayan blackberry. And one of its adaptations that helps defend it are these really sharp thorns. So you see the thorns on there? See if I move it that way. Oh yeah, look at those thorns. That is a good adaptation. I know that I have removed a lot of Himalayan blackberry over the years with kids, and it's not fun. And it's not fun because of those thorns. Those thorns protect that plant and make other organisms not want to come near it. But when they grow the berries are out on the end, so it's a little bit easier typically to get to the berries. So they do let their seeds spread because the seeds are in the berries. And then of course we have this other one that you saw me eat last week, which is the miner's lettuce. The flowers are coming in a little bit better. There's that miner's lettuce with that delicious leafy part. So when I pull it, I don't pull the flower. I just take that leaf and I eat it. But you gotta be careful eating plants without washing them. That's pretty good. Ow. Just got poked by the Himalayan blackberry. Okay, what else? Oh, the oak tree. So these oak trees, they drop the branches that are lower. Any branches that are down low on the tree, they drop off those branches. Now, why do they do that? Huckleberry talked with you all about plants competing and trying to get up high to get the sunlight so they can photosynthesize, and that's exactly why they do it. The low branches aren't typically up there getting the sunlight, so they drop the lower branches so that they don't have to keep feeding it. They don't have to keep getting it all the water and everything. They drop those lower branches, that saves them energy. They don't have to feed them anymore. Now they can put all of their energy into feeding the upper branches that are actually helping them get sunlight to make their own food. So that's an adaptations that trees have. Okay, there's one spot where the branch fell off. There's another little spot. There's another spot. Looks like it's getting ready to drop that one right there. Okay, another activity is if you're using a journal for this, in your journal, there's a spot for you to create a super adapted plant. If you're not using your journal, you just need like a blank sheet of paper and a pencil. Okay, so this super adapted plant, you're gonna draw this. You could also build one. You could make a 3D one if you want, but you just need to draw it, and it's a super adapted plant. It needs to have adaptations that are better than anything else, any other plant's adaptations, but it needs to have 5 things. It has to have a way to get water. It has to have a way to spread seeds. It has to have a way to defend itself. It has to have a way to attract pollinators and a way to get sunlight. Okay, water, sunlight, spread seeds, defense, pollinate. Those are the 5 things it has to have. Most plants get water through their roots. So their roots are going down and they absorb water that way. Most plants get sunlight through their leaves. They have their leaves spread out and they are able to capture sun. Spreading seeds, plants use a lot of different things. Some plants have seeds that are kind of like helicopters and they float away. Some plants use animals to spread their seeds around. Defense, or some plants will have thorns. A lot of plants have thorns to defend themselves. Some plants have poison, like poison oak. Attracting pollinators, most plants use really bright flowers. Some of them even smell really nice. Some of the flowers smell really nice. But you're not making a real plant. This is an imaginary plant. So you're creating something totally on your own. It just has to have those 5 things. But maybe your defense is a force field around your plant. So anything trying to come in, it's going to get shocked. Maybe your defense is a poisonous gas or something like that. Maybe to attract pollinators, you have cotton candy. I know every time I have cotton candy, then I have all these bees flying all around. Or nachos. Every time I eat nachos outside, the bees love to attack my nachos. So maybe you have nachos to attract pollinators. Maybe to spread your seeds, you have a catapult. Or one time a student put trampolines all around the plant. So every time the seeds dropped, they bounced off the trampoline and flew away. Whatever it is, get creative. Think about where this plant is gonna live. It could live in an imaginary place. It could live somewhere real. It could live on the moon. Wherever you want it to live is okay. Get creative with this. You're gonna give the plant a name and have fun. All right, so like I said, you can either draw this, or if you can find things around where you live, maybe you have some old like craft sticks or something like that, or some paper or some glue, and you could actually put together a plant. Or you could even go outside and find things that are on the ground. You could make something from stuff that you find on the ground and create a super adapted plant that way. Okay, so have fun with it. Be creative, use your imagination. Okay, so I'm standing right behind my house and I'm just gonna kind of wait here quietly to see if I can see a bird come into our picture. So I'm gonna talk a little bit quieter because I do see some birds nearby and I'm hoping they'll come closer. While we're waiting here, I want you to think about some of the adaptations humans have or use. A lot of our adaptations are behavioral, actually. And humans have lived in this area for more than 10,000 years. Now that, just right along the Columbia River. And humans would not have been able to survive along the Columbia River for that long had we not had adaptations. We have overcome diseases in the past. We have lived through floods. We have lived through catastrophic volcanic eruptions. All right, there are all kinds of things that have happened in human history, especially along the Columbia River, that the people that were living here and are living here and have lived here have had to overcome in that time. Humans have had to adapt to a lot of different situations and challenges, and we will continue adapting. I haven't seen any birds yet, but I do hear a lot of birds, and that must be an adaptation. Can you hear the birds? The noises that birds make are an adaptation. There's one bird that lives around here. You've probably seen it. It's blue. It's like a dark blue on the lower half of its body, and then the shoulders and neck and head are all black, and it has kind of like a black mohawk. A lot of people will call it a blue jay, but it's not a blue jay. It is a jay, and it's blue, but it's not the actual blue jay. But anyways, that bird has the ability, a behavioral adaptation is that it will use noises from other birds. So it'll make the sound of a hawk. And the reason it does that is to scare away other birds, or to maybe scare away another hawk. So it uses that behavioral adaptation of mimicking a different animal so that it can help itself survive. All right, this is just kind of a demonstration. I'm gonna show you some stuff. We have a couple of cool things here. Well, some of them you've seen before, like this skull, right? The mountain lion skull. And we talked about some of those adaptations like sharp teeth. Okay, so if an animal has sharp teeth, it's only eating meat. That means we call it carnivore. Carne is meat in Spanish. Carnivore only eats meat, and they have really sharp teeth. Another adaptation of those really big eyes that the cougar has, so they can hunt when it's starting to get dark. Versus these teeth are all pretty flat. Now, I don't know what this came from. Maybe an elk, a moose, I don't know. But this is a really big jawbone. But I can see that all of these teeth are flat. So that tells me that this animal is only eating plants. Okay, herbivores only eat plants. Herbs, plants, herbivores only eat plants. They have dull teeth. Now, if it eats everything like us, we're designed to be able to eat all kinds of things. We can eat meat, plants, whatever. And we have a bunch of different types of teeth. We have sharp teeth, we have flat teeth, we have teeth up front for snipping. So our teeth are designed to be able to eat anything. And our eyes are up front. That means we're a predator. If our eyes were on the side, we'd be prey. So we say eyes up front, ready to hunt. Eyes on the side, ready to hide. Here's a skull from, I don't know what it's from, but I know that it's prey because the eyes are on the side. All right, and then here's another predator with eyes up front, sharp teeth. I think this is a bobcat with a broken tooth. Here's an adaptation that is kinda crazy. Okay, this one is a little bit weird. I have a bag full of elk poop. And you might not think much about poop as being an adaptation, but some animals, there's one that lives around here called the pika. And pikas are related to rabbits. They look like little mice, but they're related to rabbits. They have Mickey Mouse kind of ears and no visible tail. They're kind of the size of a potato, like a baked potato. But they're related to rabbits, and they have these pellets that they poop out, and then they re-eat them. So they re-ingest their own poop. And that's an adaptation that helps them survive the winters because they don't hibernate in the winter. They don't use that behavioral adaptation. They stay active all winter long underneath the snow. So when the snow falls, they stay active running around underneath the snow, and they will eat their own pellets. They're called cecal pellets. So instead of fecal, like fecal matter, they use these cecal pellets. That's the first thing that comes out of them. So they eat a bunch of plants, then they have these cecal pellets that come out. They eat those to get all of the energy, because when we process food through our digestive system, we don't get every bit of energy that's in that. We learned that in the food chain activity. But these pica, they'll eat these cecal pellets and get all of that energy that's still in there, and then the last bit of waste is their fecal pellets. So, different types of poop can be an adaptation. Have a look at this one, it's a bat. Okay, bats have some cool adaptations, like especially echolocation, the way that they fly around and find their way around when it's dark outside, is they're sending off little beams of sound and letting those sounds bounce back to them. And they have really big ears. They're hard to see here, but they actually have really big ears. And that helps them fly around. All right, well, thanks for checking out some adaptations with me. We'll look forward to the next video. And remember, keep calm, get your outdoors on.